Page 430, Parsha Mishpatim, Perek of Bet, chapter 22, verse 24. In Kesef Talvet Ami, when you lend money to a friend who's a part of your nation. Eta ani imach, a poor person that's with you. Lo tiyelo kenoshe, you're not allowed to come down on the guy and continue to bother him to pay you. And lo tasimun alav neshech, and you're not allowed to charge interest upon him. So we basically understand that this parsha is all about how people deal with people in society and with being responsible towards one another, particularly in business and various other areas that help to protect society against menaces and the situations that would cause a tremendous pain. In this particular point here, we're talking about loans. Loans are a part of society. Loans are things that people should do. People should make loans. Im kesef talveh. What does it mean, im? That would be with an ayin. This is im with an aleph. What's im with an aleph? If. But it doesn't mean if. It means when. It does not mean if at all. Now, ordinarily the word im does mean if. However, the fact of the matter is that if the Torah suggests if, and it really means when, is the idea that if you have the opportunity, if you can. But if you can, then you should. Then you should. Lending money is a big mitzvah. How big a mitzvah is lending money? Well, for a fact, on a practical level, the person really needs an immediate loan to get out of a jam. And the situation requires that he's in big trouble. And in fact, you can bail him out on a simple logical level. You can't think of a bigger mitzvah than that. This guy's in deep, deep trouble. Of course, you'll argue, what guarantee do I have that I'll get paid back? Particularly when it says over here, lo tia lo kinoshe. You're not allowed to come and act as if he lent you money, as if you lent him money. You can't remind him constantly of the loan. Now, of course, it's tacky if every time you see the guy, hey, remember you owe me $10 or $100 or whatever. It's tacky. It's not socially nice. What you say? But the idea of lending and reminding him of his debt not only puts him down and makes him feel low of spirit. So what good have you done? So the last thing you want to do is do a guy a favor and then tell him, oh, remember, I did you a favor. Favor's worthless. Not worth anything.
But at some point you do get to ask for the money back if it's...
Right. So at some point you do ask him for the money back, and the question is, how do you do that? How do you at some point ask him for the money back? And the answer would probably be an appointed time.
At the outset. You said it at the outset.
Well, that you did in any event, because once the transaction was taking place. But the point was that... Who told you to believe me? That's not what I say. So, I mean, again, if the loan was made and it's obvious that you owe me the money, so I assume that most loans do have a due date. Some say that loans without a due date are assumed to be a 30-day loan. That's what it's assumed. We assume that a loan that does not have a due date is a 30-day loan. Unless it's otherwise specified. Should be documented. A loan that's not documented is not smart business. That's foolish. And so, you make this loan, trying to help the guy out, because the bottom line of the loan is the end of the passage, which is, lo tesimun alav neshech, you can't take any interest. Now we understand it's not a business loan. The business loan is an enterprise, is an opportunity for a person to move forward and have profits. So, if that's the case, someone helps you out, he should share those profits. How does he share them? You get him interest. I'm going into this business over here. It's going to cost me $50,000. I have $25,000. Can you give me the other $25,000? As a loan, of course. Well, sure. So I want 50% of the profits. Or I might say, well, I don't need that much. I'll just charge you 10% interest as long as you got the money. Either way, I mean, it's fair business practice. We're not talking about that. We're talking about a guy who's in trouble. Can't pay his rent. Has a large overdue bill at the grocery store. Such a person, you help him out. You can't imagine the greatness of chesed. According to the Chavetz Chaim, it's the highest form of chesed you can do. It is not we understood, mentioned many times, that the most truest chesed, the most honest chesed, the most sincere chesed, is that of burying the dead. That we explained that many times. And we understand that that's the highest level of regard another person can have for a human being. The highest level of regard you can have for a human being is when he's dead. Which means that obviously, because he can't pay it back, of course. Which means that obviously you should have a high regard for a human being when he's alive. That being the case, what is the kind of kindness that is done with a loan? So the kindness of a loan is actually, bailing a guy out and in the midst of a real serious trouble, and that's called a big chesed, a tremendous kindness. But it's a kindness that cannot be accompanied with any way of shaming him, because then where's the chesed? But also the point is that you may not get this money back. So you better be prepared to afford the possibility of losing it.
When you help somebody out 3, 4, or 5 times and they don't pay you back, do you continue to help them out?
Oh, great question. So I once had a guy who was an Israeli fellow, loving person, an Israeli fellow, who came to my office many years ago, and he cried bitter tears about his poverty, his situation, his difficulty. He said, please help me. So at the time, at the shul over in Chandler, we had some dormitory rooms. And I gave him a place to sleep. And he joined us for the davening in the morning and for breakfast and whatever else we could help him with and so forth. And then one morning I came into my office and looked at the phone bill. And the phone bill was about $500 extra from what I normally pay. And all those $500 phone calls were made to Israel. The true story. So I went to the guy. Oh, Rebbe, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it. So I said, sorry. I mean, הסבתא שלי לא מרגישה טוב. אני צריך קשה לה כל יום. Oh boy, this guy, he laid it on thick. He could give me a good story. And he sang and he danced and he cried and whatever. So I said, look, whatever it is, you have to leave. Mm-hmm. And he left. Me with a $500. But the PS to the story is that 3 years later, he shows up on my front door with $500. I swear. Israeli. So there's something good about Israelis after all. 3 years later, the guy shows up with $500. But here's the funny thing about the story. He comes in, knocks on the door of my home, and he says, Rabbi, there's a team. For a second, I didn't remember. Oh yeah, I remember you. Yeah, I certainly remember you. And he peels me off $500, and he leaves instantaneously. And I never saw him again. Never saw him again. So the truth is, obviously, you're not obligated to help a person who's going to simply take advantage of you. But you do have to make a loan in which you have to be prepared for the possibility that it may end up to be tzedakah. Are you prepared to write off tzedakah? So let's see. I mean, let's see now. You want a $5,000 loan. Well, if you can have some guarantors and some, maybe someone will co-sign, someone will give a check in your place in case you can't do it. I can't afford to give away $5,000 tzedakah. But you're coming for $100. Hey, at the end of the day, I can lose $100. So therefore, it comes out what? It comes out tzedakah.
Is that what makes it the ultimate chesed?
That's what makes it the ultimate chesed. Because you gave him tzedakah and you didn't shame him. He thought he was getting a loan. Now, it could be that he might need some psychological help. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the fact that that the person that gave the loan understood way back in his mind the possibility I may not get this back, and that's tzedakah. Okay, I'm willing to give tzedakah. I'm willing to give $100. You need $100? Here's $100. Now, ordinarily, you might give $100 tzedakah anyway, but this guy, understand, his honor's been preserved. Yes. He has not been shamed. It's a big thing. So the truth is, you see, is that the idea of doing such a chesed, of loaning him without coming after him and demanding the money and so forth, and possibly writing it off, is the concept that you're doing him a chesed by preserving his dignity. Now, to understand that is to understand, again, the same point we talked about earlier. The chesed of giving to a dead person who cannot help himself to bury the dead. Kvurat hamet happens to be the chesed shel hamet. There's no truer, more sincere kindness that you can do. And so therefore, we have to say that, in a way, the whole idea is, the whole goal of chesed is to preserve a person's dignity and to realize how significant that is in the eyes of Hashem. A person is created nivra b'tzelem Elokim, in the image of God. There was a great rabbi who would come and someone knocked on the door, and he went to open the door. He was in his shirt sleeves, and he put on a jacket. So I asked him, where you going? He said, Salam Alaikum is coming to my door. You want me to go and greet him in shirt sleeves, without a jacket, without being properly dressed? You honor to a person. And everyone has it expressed in a different fashion. For me, on a personal level, I will tell you that ordinarily, health permitting, I will never sit when a person is standing in front of me. Jew, non-Jew, doesn't matter. If a person is standing, I will stand. And I will ask him to sit, or because I want to sit. but I make sure that I won't. It just is uncomfortable for me to be sitting and looking up at a person who's standing. Is that right? Derech Eretz. Basic respect for a human being. Tell him a kid. And to be able to realize how significant this is a tremendous sense of respect for what a mensch is all about. So we understand that you can't therefore compromise the chesed by constantly bugging him and bothering him, when am I going to pay back, right? But it also says something else. It says here that you're lending him the money amongst your nation. Talvet ami. What does it mean, Talvet ami, my nation? It means anyone who's a member of my nation. Meaning, you get to treat him like an equal. We're all Amei B'nai Israel, no? We're all Achi, right? Brothers, bros, right? Mm-hmm. So therefore, the idea is we are all part of Ami. When the Torah says Ami, it wants to tell you a point. And the point is that you should know that you treat him as if he's a part of Amcha. So he feels the dignity of not being shamed or lowered. We're brothers. Sure, I don't mind. You need a loan? Absolutely. Ami. Achi betach. For sure. Then, of course, it says after that, Ha'ani imach. What does it mean, ani imach? The poor man is with you. What does it mean with you? You got to feel as if you're with him, he's with you. There's a certain kinship, a certain brotherhood here. The dignity is being preserved by every single word in the pasuk. The Torah writes every single word to do that, to preserve his dignity. Then, of course, don't come after him and bug him. And then it says at the end, there's no interest. And the bottom line of the no interest, you would argue the no interest isn't obvious. Because we already have a prohibition of interest anyway. So what I'm saying, prohibition of interest? To tell you that if you did take an interest, you would be ruining what you did. Not for him, but for you. Listen, you lent me $100. You were so kind, you were so good. Please take back 110. I beg of you. I mean it. My goodness of my heart. Please take $110 back. There's no skin off my back anymore. I got the money. By taking those $10 back, you ruined what you did. You blew it. Why? Because the whole idea is to do an act of mitzvah in its fullness, in its completeness. Person gets up in the morning and wants to daven to Hashem. Well, he's a little late this morning. Right? How many of us get up a little bit late in the morning, right? So we have to take the siddur and fool around a little bit and say, what can I say? Maladaleg? What can I skip, right? Because, I'm in a rush. I got to get to work. Is the pshat? You didn't do the Maisa B'Shleimut. You didn't do it complete. And that's kind of sad. Because the idea is to do something, to do it not just as a quantitative matter, but as a qualitative matter. It's not the kamut, it's the echut of the matter. So therefore you want to do it right. You want to give tzedakah, and you give it tzedakah reluctantly, with a lousy face. Here's your money. There's no completeness to the act. The whole idea is to do something in a way and in a manner that's complete. Because you want to do it in a fulfilled manner. So obviously you take something back and you lose a little bit out of it. You just haven't done it right. And we can think of many mitzvot that are the same way. And oftentimes, the task of doing mitzvot is a task that really requires a person's focus to get it right. Putting a mezuzah on your door. How many people are adept at hammering a nail? Maybe some of you are smalanim, and the left-handed people again. Oh! You want to get it right. You want to get the mezuzah on right. You want to do it right. You want to put on your tefillin right. You want to keep Shabbat right. You want to do it right. Shleimut ha'maaseh. You took back $10. You did it, but you didn't do it right. And that's not you didn't ruin the chesed for him, but you ruined it for yourself. So now, you know the famous story of the rabbi that told that vacation time, Pesach came vacation. Said Pesach vacation, they sent all the Talmidim to home for chofesh, right, from the yeshiva. And as they went home, so they went to two Bochum didn't go. Why couldn't they go? They didn't have the money for train fare. So the Rebbe said to them, I'll lend you the money. So he lent them the money, whatever it cost. They went home, they had celebrated Pesach with their family, came back, and gave him the money back. A wonderful thing. And then they made the big mistake of saying, thank you. And the Rebbe said, don't say thank you. You're saying thank you. You're giving me a little bit extra pleasure out of what I did. And you just ruined my whole mitzvah. I'm taking interest. I got back the $50 plus a thank you. That's interest. It's asur. Don't say thank you. So talking more remiss, okay, Rebbe, okay, whatever the Rebbe says. Next year came the same problem. They couldn't have money for Pesach to go home for Pesach. He lent them the same money. They come back, give them the $50, and they walk away. And he said, what are you walking away for? Because my thank you. Oh, man, the Bochum were going crazy. Well, Rebbe, I don't get you. What's up? See, he said, look, it is a fact that it's forbidden to say thank you. But you just can't walk away either. A little gesture, a little something, a little smile, something. Yeah, something. You just can't walk away.
Say another good day.
Say have a good day, whatever. The point is that each person has to learn his role in terms of the menschlichkeit and the decency and the gutskeit of what a person's supposed to do. Whether it be the lender or the borrower. The lender has to know his nimus, his propriety, and the borrower his. And the borrower has to know to show some appreciation, even though it's forbidden for him to accept the appreciation, you got to express it somehow or another. So sometimes we have issues in which we, in interpersonal relationships, have an obligation to the other person doesn't even want to do, or even want to get. But I got to do it for me, not for him. He doesn't need my thank you, want my thank you, he wants the mitzvah. But I got to say thank you. It's for me. Because otherwise it's a chisaron in me. There's something wrong with me as a person. So you follow, understand here how important this mitzvah is of trying to preserve the human dignity. The Parsha, in all of its sense here, is trying to help people work with each other, learn from each other, not hurt each other. I mean, the biggest thing in the Parsha really is the 4 areas of damage. People damage each other, hurt each other. They harm each other. There's physical harm. People hit each other. Right? These are things that the Torah deals with because it happens. But at the same time, it realizes that it's teaching us that it shouldn't happen. But if it does, then there is consequence. What's the consequence? Well, you can go to jail. Well, that's what they're going. We don't put people in jail. We make you pay. We hit you where it hurts. Oh, you can't pay. Oh, I understand. You can't pay. Well, you're a big, strong man. You can work, can't you? Okay. We're going to give you a little prison, but it's not going to be the same prison. It's going to become an evet. If you take a look at the beginning of the Parsha, it says over there, Ki tikneh eved ivri. You're going to buy a Hebrew slave. That means you got a Jew here who deserves to be a slave. Now this Jew deserves to be a slave. Why? Because he has a debt he can't pay back. Maybe it's because he didn't pay it, and the man wants his money. It's big money. Or maybe He went and robbed the bank. Now, when you rob a bank, you understand, or steal money from someone, you have to pay it back. That's the goal. The goal is restitution. What does it mean to pay in Hebrew? L'shalem. What does l'shalem mean? L'shlim et hadavar. To make it perfect. To take something that's a chisaron and make it whole. I sell you my dumb phone over here. It's supposed to be a smartphone, it ain't. But I sell you my dumb phone over here, right? And I'm selling it to you for $100. The idea is that what? Is that when you pay me the $100, you're mishalem. You make my chisaron. I just lost the phone. I just gave the phone away, right? So if I give this phone away, I want to be paid for it. I want someone to fulfill my loss. What is my loss? My loss is $100. So therefore, when you pay me, you have fulfilled my loss. That's the shalem. So let's understand. What's your name? Really? Glad to hear that. Has it always been Yitzhak? Ever since you were born? Interesting. Okay. Anyway. So the guy can't pay his loan. Or he can't pay the bank. He stole it from the bank. $60,000. That's a lot of money. A lot of people are hurt. What are we going to do now? So what we're going to do with this man is we're going to say, pay it up. I ain't got it. I spent it. I went to the horse races. I'm an irresponsible person. I'm totally irresponsible. I steal. I gamble. Right? I'm a junkhead. So we say to him, very good. We're going to put you in slavery. We're going to make you an Eved. Now what's an Eved? An Eved Ivri is a Jewish slave. Not an Eved Kanani, a non-Jewish slave. Is there such a thing as a non-Jewish slave, an Eved Kanani? Certainly there is. If a guy wants to be a slave to a Jew, Mazel tov, it's a big mitzvah for him. I mean, think of it. Eliezer is this Eved Avram, is a slave of Avram. Do you think of a greater level of a person than him? Eliezer was the kind of man that had total subjugation and total submission and total subservience to his master. There is no greater, more powerful human power than that. For the human being who has his natural resistance for his independence, who is unwilling to take orders, right? I mean, you never meet a person who can take orders to be he goes to work, he takes orders from the boss. He can't do that, right? That's too much. So what is he going to do? Got to become the boss himself, right? Why should I take orders from somebody else? Taking orders is the most powerful midah you can find. Because it takes real power, real koach, to submit yourself. Ezu Gibor. Who's a strong man? Why? He conquers his inner passion. My passion wants this, my passion wants that. He conquers it. Controls himself. My passion is I want to take this horse of mine and I want to belt him in the mouth. The guy told me off, insulted me, this, that, and I belt him. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Why can't I do it? Because I don't want to lose my job. Right? See, you find control, you find it. My Rebbe used to say the following. For those of you that went to the 48 ways, you remember it. Man buys a brand new sports car. Who remembers the brand new sports car? Anybody? The brand new red shiny sports car? Nobody? Man buys a brand new red shiny sports car. Can't wait for the excitement of letting it rip on a freeway. See, he takes it off the showroom, he drives up a couple of blocks, he's at the point where he's ready to make a left turn onto the freeway, and guess what happens? Some guy comes right behind him and bumps him right behind him. Whoa, my brand new car! How could you do that? Before the guy could think twice, he's all shaken up, the guy rears back and bumps him a second time. Whoa, what are you, crazy? I'm gonna kill this guy. Guy rears back for the third time. You're dead. That's it. Runs out to the guy, opens the car, step out. And out steps the guy, 6'4", 250 pounds. And I say to him, Pardon me, was I in your way? I'm afraid of the guy. I mean, you control yourself, don't you? You want to get killed? Forget the car. You don't want to get killed? Think of it. That's called control. Control is the most powerful media a person has. You got to have koyach for that. Ezu agibar koveshet yitzro. What's the pshat? Moshe berucho. He controls his spirit. My spirit is, I don't want to be told off. I don't want to tell them what to do. All of a sudden, your parents tell you what to do. Your Rebbe tells you what to do. This one tells you what to do. Your uncle and aunt tell you what to do. Make you nuts. Somehow or another, you got to find that power inside to take it. Because why? Their advice is helpful. If you're smart. If you don't, so you keep on making the same dumb mistakes. Point is that a person now is becoming an eved. What's an eved? He submits himself. A slave basically has two rules. There's a rule for a goy and a rule for a Jew. For a goy to become a slave, he's got to volunteer. He's got to volunteer. Now, how do you volunteer? Well, when we get to Eretz Yisrael, our job is to take the population that exists in Eretz Yisrael and remove them. That's a mitzvah of the Torah. Whoever's there, don't make a difference. It's Canaan, Palestinians, don't make a difference. Out. But, let's say the guy says, I'm willing to stay and to forfeit all my political rights, all my religious rights, and I will live here peacefully, nicely, with a job, and privately on my own. Okay? You want to help in whatever job you have to upkeep the land, that's fine. But remember, you have no rights, and you have no say in what's going on. So, we say to this person, you're becoming an Eved Kanani. Now, let's say you want to work for a Jew. Okay? If you want to work for a Jew, would you understand? You have no rights to your religion, because there can be nothing else but Torah in the Holy Land. There can't be no Christianity, no Islam, no nothing. And you have to have full acceptance of our leadership and our control. We're the bosses. We rule the place. It's our land. Okay? Guy accepts. So I say, I want to become the caretaker of the synagogue. I want to clean the shul. I want to become the Shabbos guy. If you ever need something on Shabbos, just talk to me. Or you can't say it out loud, so you give me a remez. You give me a hint. I want to do it for the Jewish people. I'm Eliezer. I want to serve you, Avram. I want to serve you. I do everything you ask of me. Avram says, you everything? Wow, let's go now. My nephew Lot in trouble he's held captive in his great world war by this mighty nation. I'm fighting all alone against this nation to help save Lot. Are you with me? Eliezer fights him alone. Him and Avram alone fights all these nations. Eliezer is the most devoted servant. The most devoted servant. To be like an Eved Avram, to be Eliezer, is a davar gadol ad mi'ov. It's a great thing to accomplish. Because this is the way we learn to be Avdei Hashem, which is the goal. That's the tachlis of life. Why did God send us into Mitzrayim? To become slaves. So we learn the power of what a slave is. Except you don't want to be a slave to a human. You want to be a slave to whom? To God. Because you understand that if you're not a slave to Hashem, then you are a slave to a human. Because somebody's rules you're going to listen to. If it's not God's, who are you going to listen to? You'll listen to the Prime Minister of Israel? Okay, do you want to do that? You want to listen to the President of the United States? You want to do that? I don't listen to any of those guys. Who do you listen to? Me. Well, what kind of independence is that? You're also listening to a human being. You're a human being. So either way, no matter how you turn it, somebody, somewhere, you're going to be a slave to a human. Whether it's this guy, that guy, Thomas Jefferson, or Benjamin Franklin, or yourself. Doesn't make a difference. You're going to listen to a human until you listen to God. And listening to God is the only emancipation, only freedom you can ever get in this world. To become Eved Hashem. So God takes us out of Mitzrayim, takes us out of Avdei Paro, to become Avdei Hashem. Now you're avodim of Hashem. So guess what? If now a non-Jew wants to become an Eved, a slave to a Jew, so is well, he can. But he can never be free. Not him, not his children. Or grandchildren or great-grandchildren. They remain the absolute property of the Jew. There's only one way you can get free. How? Convert. That's right. Convert. In other words, what we learn from this is that anybody that's got that kind of goodwill, that he wants to serve Hashem, or to serve the Jewish people, he can take it a step further and become a Jew. You see? So actually, if you think about it, becoming an Evet Kanani is the first step towards becoming a Jew. Now, certain people can say, that's enough for me. I can't do better. I don't want to do better. This is what I'm made for. That's fine. The other person says, I need more. I want to join the Jewish people. So Rabban Gamliel had this great servant. His name was Tavi. The world's greatest, most devoted servant since Eliezer, the servant of Rome, was a man named Tavi. Tavi was the slave of Rabban Gamliel. Rabban Gamliel walked into shul one day. By the way, he tested Rabban Tavi in learning. You learned that Mishnah? Yeah. Tavi, Talmud Chacham. Tavi knows how to learn, right? He knows the Torah, right? Now the whole Shiloh and Sukkah, right? So he walks into the shul, and in the shul there's 8 guys. And Rabban Gamliel is number 9. He looks at Tavi and he says, I think it's time. And he frees him. You're number 10. That's done. That's one of the most creative ways of making a minion, but it can be done. Anyway, that's the point of an Evet Kanani. What's the point of an Evet Ivri? An Evet Ivri is a Jew. Now, by the way, one more thing about Avdus, slavery. You're not permitted, if you're an Adon, you're a master. I'm a master. I'm a Jew. And I got this Goyish slave, or I got this Jewish slave, whatever it may be, I got to treat him nice. It says in the Gemara, Misha kana Eved Latzmo, kana Adon Latzmo. You buy yourself a slave, you got a master on top of you. Because why? Because you got to take care of this guy and provide for him. Make sure he eats properly, he has proper health care, make sure he sleeps okay. In fact, if you only have one pillow in the house, he gets it. Whatever you got, he gets the best. Take care of this guy, provide for him. Do not oppress him in any way, shape, or form. But, and by the way, one other thing, you can't give him the work to do that he's not accustomed to do, which will shame him. You have to give him only the work that he's familiar with. I only know how to do this kind of work, give him that kind of work. He can't do, don't give him work that he can't do. Well, he won't be productive and he'll be embarrassed. So therefore, you got to treat the guy right, give him the proper job, make him feel proper, make him work normal, 9 to 5. So one little detail. You can't go home. You stay here with me. But what about my family? My wife, my children? Bring them in. But that means, Sir Master Adon, you're going to have to provide for them too. No problem. I'm a rich man. So the man comes in with his wife and 3 kids. He's got to feed now 5 mouths, correct? 5 mouths he's got to feed, and take care of them, and give them a nice place to sleep, and make sure that they're treated properly. Right? This is how you treat an Eved. Now, the Jewish slave, however, he knows one thing, that he's there temporarily. He's not forever, like the Goy. The Goy is property. But the Jew, he gets free. After how long?
7 years.
70 goes free, right. Now, that means if, let's say, I stole $60,000 and I worked for this man for 6 years, treated properly with my family, and doing the work that I'm accustomed to, almost nothing has changed except that I can't leave the property. I worked off my debt, and I'm free. Now, we understand that the master who does this has got to be awfully wealthy. But in addition to being wealthy, how much good is he contributing to the master's overall plantation, overall spread, so to speak, or his company? How much is contributing the guy? Guy just does what he's capable of, does a 9-to-5 job like everybody, the human being, and you got to feed him on top of that, and you got to pay off the debt. In fact, you got to pay off the debt in advance. If the guy stole $60,000, you got to go back to that bank and pay that. Well, I'm rich, man, big deal, right?
Depends how productive it is.
Okay, I hope it's a decent worker. I mean, you can't smack him around, you know. I mean, so I paid over $60,000 to this loser, right? Who comes crying to me with his wife and his kids, right? And and I got to feed these five nefashos, these five people, and I got to take care of everybody, and he does the work, whatever it is. I didn't get much out of it. Why'd I do it? You know why?
For him.
What?
For him, he was the one.
Because in addition to being a wealthy man, I'm also a righteous man. I'm a tzaddik. I'm a good guy. I want to rehabilitate this guy. I want to talk to him all day, learn Torah with him all day. After his 5 o'clock is done, I want to teach him learning. And you know what I'm going to do with him? I'm going to teach him that robbery is bad. And I'm going to teach him that crime doesn't pay. I'm going to teach him how to be a man, be a human being.
So he goes to yeshiva for free, and
That's right. And on top of it, I goes to yeshiva for free. Look at that, what a deal. Boy, I want to be a slave tomorrow. I mean, think of it.
It's something with pretentious.
It's a tremendous thing, right? Now, however, then we find out that the guy likes it so good, he doesn't want to go. He likes it there. He likes it over there. So we say to him, okay, you want to stay, you can stay till the Yovel, for 50 years. But we're going to take your ear and we're going to pierce it and put a little earring in there. So everybody knows you're an Eved. Right? Now you know all these people who walk down the street all day with these little things in them, right? Hi, slave! How are you, slave? They're slaves! That's all they are. Oh, these guys with earrings in there, what? Slaves! Right? Nothing personal.
Doesn't that hurt their dignity?
You bet. And that's the whole idea. Their dignity should be hurt. You know why? Because they stood at Mount Sinai with the rest of us. And as the rest of us stood at Mount Sinai, we heard, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am the Lord your God, lo yelecha Elohim acherim. You can't believe in any other. There's no other master but Hashem. You want to have a master temporarily to help you get out of financial crisis? No problem. But you want to stay there and be comfortable? No. Your job is to not be afraid of the real world. Get out there. Yeah. Open up a business. You failed one time, you'll succeed a second. No, boy, don't be scared. Get out there. Don't be afraid of life. I can't be, I'm afraid of life. I can't get out there. No. You got to get out there and live in the real world. Freedom. That's right. That's what freedom is all about. Freedom is responsibility. Let's see what you can do on your own. Masa yodecha. Your hands are the work of your hands. Let's see what you can do. Oh, this guy's afraid of that. You should only have fear of Salakim, fear of God. And you don't have it. So you know what? We're going to take your ear, which is the organ which you heard. This organ heard you shall know the gods, right? This organ shall go next to the mezuzah, where it says Shema Yisrael, Shem Elokeinu, Shem Echad. Only one is no other. At that point, we give him a little earring over there, right? And we say, you, my friend, are a slave. Until you learn to be independent, till you learn to be a mensch, till you learn to stand on your own 2 feet, and go out to the world and make it with your family, with responsibility. So that's the concept of the institution of slavery. Now there are many many men particularly, that might view marriage a little bit that way, you know. So we want our party tonight is here to discourage them of such thoughts. Our party tonight is to bring the celebration together of people who view each other a little differently. And sense the beauty of being together as equal partners. It's not slavery at all. But in fact, It's the slavery of wanting to please the other. That's the slavery is. I'm enslaved to you, to your needs, to your concerns, to what makes you happy. I am your slave. And both husband says that to wife, and wife says that to husband. That's what marriage is. It's a whole lot different than slavery. Right? But yet at the same time, it's a whole lot similar. Okay, so we'll stop here, cut our share short. We'll ask everyone to please join us in the dining room. And please wash the tail like you're dying. Please make sure that everyone eats bread. Right after we eat, we'll have drink out the mazon, sheva brachot, and afterwards we will daven, we'll say, we'll pray out of eat, we'll pray Ma'ariv. Please come with me.